and so I have to explain to people that's not what hope is. Hope is not blind optimism. Hope is not ignorance of the barriers and hurdles and hazards that stand in your way. Hope's just the opposite. I know how hard it will be to provide health care to every single American. The insurance companies, drug companies, they don't want to give up their profits. I know it won't be easy to have an energy policy that makes sense. For America, because the oil companies like writing the energy bills. I know that alleviating poverty, or making sure all our children can learn, or eliminating the scourge of racism in our society, none of those things lend themselves to simple solutions. I know because I fought on the streets as a community organizer in poor neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago alongside those without jobs or without prospects for the future. I have fought in the courts as a civil rights attorney for those who had been denied opportunity on the job or denied access to the ballot box. I've seen good legislation die because, well, I've seen that too. I've seen good legislation die because good intentions weren't enough. Because they weren't fortified with a political majority and political will. I've seen this country this country's judgment clouded by fear. I know how easily a country can be misled when it is afraid. I know how hard it is. Everybody. Here understands how difficult it is to bring about true change, change that we can believe in. But I also know this, that nothing in this country worthwhile has ever happened except somebody somewhere decided to hope. That's how this country was founded, because a group of patriots decided they were going to take on the British Empire. Nobody was putting their money on them. That's how slaves and abolitionists resisted that evil system. That's how a new president was able to chart a course to ensure that this nation would no longer remain half slave and half free. That's how the greatest generation defeated fascism and overcame a Great Depression. That's how women won the right to vote. That's how workers won the right to organize. That's how young people and old people and middle-aged folks were willing to walk instead of ride the bus. And folks came down on freedom rides. They marched, and they sat in, and they were beaten, and firehouses were sent on them. And dogs were sent on them, and some went to jail, and some died for freedom's cause. That's what hope is. Imagining and then fighting for and struggling for and sometimes dying for what didn't. Seem possible before. There's nothing naive about that. There are no false hopes in that. I don't believe in false hopes. Imagine if John F. Kennedy had looked up at the moon and said, "Well, that's too far." False hopes. We can't go there. If Dr. King had stood on the Lincoln Memorial and said, "Y'all go home, we can't overcome." There's no such thing as false hopes, but what I know deep in my heart is that We cannot bring about change unless we are unified, unless we do it together. Change does not happen from the top down in America or anywhere else. It happens from the bottom up. It happens because ordinary people dream extraordinary things. It's because all of you decide that change must come. That I know. It wasn't just one voice, it wasn't just one voice that shouted out before the walls of Jericho. All the voices came together, a chorus of voices. That's what gives me hope, not just those who ascend to high office. But the changes that are happening in ordinary places. The stories that give me my hope don't happen in the spotlight. When I think about Dr. King, I suspect he was sustained not by having dinner with presidents, not by getting the Nobel Peace Prize. But coming back to church and seeing the mothers of the church and the deacons. Those who maintained their dignity were standing up straight in the face of injustice. That's where he drew his hope. He saw God in their faces. Those stories don't happen on a presidential stage. They happen in the quiet quarters of our lives. They happen in the moments we least expect. So, let me close by giving an example of one of those stories. There is a young woman, 23 years old, white woman, named Ashley Baya. Who organizes for our campaign in Florence, South Carolina. Ashley has been working to organize mostly black folks. She's in Florence. South Carolina. She's been doing it since the beginning of the campaign, and the other day she set up a round table. Discussion where everyone around was telling their story about who they were and why they were there. And so, Ashley explained, she started things off by explaining why she was there. And she explained that when she was 9 years old her mother got cancer. And because she had to miss a day of work she was let go, and she lost her health care, and then she had to file for bankruptcy. They were on hard times, and that's when Ashley, 9 years old at the time, decided she had to do something to help her mom, and she knew that food was one of their most expensive costs. They didn't have a lot of money. Ashley lived in a poor household. And so Ashley convinced her mother that she really liked and really wanted to eat more than anything else mustard and relish sandwiches. She had heard that condiments like mustard and relish were cheap. And she concocted in her own mind at the age of 9 that she would convince her. Mother that that's the only thing she wanted to eat every day. Because she figured that would be a way of saving money for the family and helping them alleviate their hardships. So she did this for a year until her mom got better. And in that round table she told everyone that the reason she joined our campaign was so that she could help millions of other children in the country who want and need to help their parents too. She had heard me speak about my mother having cancer and having to worry about maybe not getting the health care she needed because of a pre-existing condition, and she had connected with that. She thought, maybe Barack would fight for my mother. And if he would fight for my mother, then maybe I will fight alongside him. That's what had brought her to Florence. So Ashley finishes her story and then goes around the room. And asks everyone else why they're supporting the campaign. They all have different stories and different reasons, some bring up specific issues. Some talk about, upset about, affirmative action, some talk about, you know. I want to see more jobs in the community, some are frustrated about trade, some just like me. So they all got a bunch of different reasons, and finally. At the end of this discussion, they come to this elderly black man. He's been sitting there quiet the whole time, hasn't been saying a word. And Ashley asks him why is he there. And he doesn't bring up a specific issue. He does not say healthcare or the economy. He doesn't talk. About the Iraq War. He doesn't say anything about education. He doesn't say that he's there because he likes Barack Obama. Or he's proud of the possibility of the first African American president. He simply says to everyone in the room, I am here because of Ashley. I am here because of this young girl, and the fact that she's willing to fight for what she believes in. And that reminds me that I still have some fight left in me, and I'm going stand up for what I believe in. Now, by itself, that single moment of recognition between that young white girl and that old black man. That's not enough to change a country. By itself, it's not enough to give health care to the sick or jobs. To the jobless or education to our children, but it is where we begin. It's why I believe that the walls in that room began to shake at that moment. And if they can shake in that room, then they can shake here in Atlanta, and if they can shake in Atlanta, then they can shake in the state of Georgia, and if they can shake in Georgia, they can shake all across America. And if enough of our voices join together, if we see each other in each other's eyes, we can bring those walls tumbling down. The walls of Jericho can finally come tumbling down. That is our hope, but only if we pray together, if we work together, and if we march together. Ebenezer, we cannot walk alone. Brothers and sisters, we cannot walk alone. In the struggle for justice and for equality, we cannot walk alone. In the struggle for opportunity and justice, we cannot walk alone. In the struggle to heal this nation and repair the world, we cannot walk alone. So I ask you to walk with me and march with me and join your voices with mine. And together we will sing the song that tears down the walls that divide us lift up an America that is truly indivisible with liberty and justice for all. May God bless the memory of the great pastor of this church. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Thank you.